it adds some bitterness to it. And it sure can. Typically when we've done, back when I've made my batches of Joe's Ancient Orange, it basically just tastes like orange-flavored Rocketeel at first when it's finished. If you ferment it out in proper temperature and range and bring some modern yeast to it, you can mellow a lot of that out. But yeah, I'm surprised that you actually had. You must have put an awful lot of citrus in it to bring.
Oh yeah, there was way too much. It was about half citrus juice. I'm surprised it fermented at all. Bread yeast is amazing stuff. And the other major experience that I've had with regular, I actually made a regular lime mead once upon a time, and that was one of two batches that have the amazing aroma of diesel fuel.
Yes,
and it's kind of a phenolic bit that I kind of expect from citrus, but the other batch that did it, I started the two batches on the same day, but they were with different yeasts, different ingredients, and different sugar sources. One of them's a mead, and the other one was a wine, and they both came out with this sort of diesel aroma to them, and it's not really a taste, it's an aroma. And one of them had happened before bottling, and the other had happened after bottling.
Okay. Do you still have any left? Have you actually gone back to revisit it at any point further down the road, or? I
still have. I haven't opened any of the lime one because it was a 1 gallon batch, and I can see one from here. It's in one of my wine holders in the kitchen.
Okay.
But it wasn't very pleasant, so I haven't really opened a bottle of it since. But what I found with the red currant one was I absolutely adore red currants, and this was probably my third or fourth batch of it, and it actually tastes really good if you pour a glass worth out of it, shake the hell out of it, and use a wine vacuum for a couple of days. Just shake the crap out of it. So if you aerate it, it blows the stink off, and it's fine to drink after that. So right. I'm assuming the lime is the same. I haven't actually, because it wasn't as nice going in. I haven't actually gone and experimented with it, so it's been probably sitting in that holder for 5 years now. I haven't gotten around to dealing with it.
Yeah, and if it's something that's just in the aroma, you're not detecting it in the flavor or anything anywhere.
No, if you hold your nose, it's not there at all. And if you let a cup of it sit around for a while, it goes away.
That's what I would suggest, is just to decant it and let it sit for a while until you get some of that aroma off of it. Interesting that you're not detecting it. Well, it just must be undetectable for flavor that you're picking up in just the aroma itself.
Yeah, it's also possible I have my taste in my toes. My mother has accused me of that multiple times. But you'd think with something like diesel... You'd think with something like diesel I'd be able to detect it, but if I just take one of these bottles of the red currant stuff and just shake the crap out of it and, suck it with the vacuum a couple of times a day for a couple of days, then it's actually drinkable after that, and you can't really... Yeah, it's just degassing. I haven't actually done any experiments with the lime yet to see if it's the exact same thing, but with the lime, it sort of was this phenolic thing that I can sort of extrapolate that smell to something gone wrong with citrus fruit. But there was no excuse for it in the red currant.
Yeah, you also have to be careful. There are a lot of things that you can pick up on the surface of citrus fruit. All kinds of wild bugs can get into your must. So you have to be careful with that.
Typically I scrub everything down with... I throw them in the dishwater and scrub them down with soap because I'm also concerned about pesticides.
Correct. Yeah, get the soap off. Don't be afraid to use tar sand on the surface either. And sometimes I'll even go that next step and freeze it after that. Simply for two reasons. One, the freezing action also kills off a lot of different things. And two, it helps break open a lot of those plant cells, because you have so much of the cellulose in plant cells, and by freezing it, the water that's in the inside of the cell helps burst it open and makes it more accessible to yeast.
Yeah, I haven't really tried freezing with citrus because I find if you just pop the little juice segments, then most of the time that gets all the juice out of it. And I often use a reamer. I use a reamer style juicer most of the time anyways. It's rare that I will actually throw an unadulterated orange into a JAO. I'll usually, at the very least, I'll hand squash the segments or something.
Yeah, let me clarify that a little bit. You would use it on the use it on the peel instead of the actual inside.
Okay.
Once you slice into it, it's fairly sterile on the inside, unless you have like a bug is made of wormhole or something in it.
Exactly.
But it's fairly sterile on the interior. You want to use it on the outside.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're going to use any kind of zest or any kind of peelings or anything like that in your recipes, don't be afraid. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I always just scrub them with the dish soap. I figure if it's clean enough for the dishes.
Correct.
Although I don't put them in the drain board because God knows what's in there.
Right. Yeah. So that's cleaning it all off, but a little extra sanitary stuff helps too. So.
Yeah, I typically tend to use sulfite solution for that with a little bit of acid blend in it. And that seems to do the trick most of the time. And I'm not above dunking whatever I'm putting into my must in that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because I know it won't kill me. I accidentally slugged back a glug of it once while I was siphoning. So I'm not sensitive to sulfites as long as I'm not inhaling them.
At least you know that now, huh?
I know that. Yeah.
Always tasty. Yeah.
So we've talked about the obvious things like pH and and which yeasts are happier with that. What other things have you run into when you're doing your citrus meads that are things that you would suggest people watch out for?
Typically, what we have run into is usually issues with just keeping your batches going and up and going, depending on the gravity and the pH. So typically we'll use a TOTS schedule using Formato to go ahead and give nutrients to the yeast while it's fermenting. We usually do that about 3 times. We don't tend to go overkill with it. Typically because I like to err on the side of caution when it comes to making additives while it's fermenting. So we'll use small amounts of Formato small is a relative term depending on the size of the batch that you but typically, just degassing, being very careful to go ahead and degas in the gentlest way as possible, and then doing your step feedings, and just making sure that you're creating the best possible environment for your yeast to operate in. Proper pitching rates are important to use. Don't underpitch. Try not to overpitch. Try to get it right. There's lots of different calculators online that you can use to go ahead and get the right volume of yeast to use, whether you're making starters or you're going from liquid or dry yeasts. Try to pitch properly if you can. It just creates less stress for your yeast when it's in its lag phase and dividing, and when it's at high crowds in both in active fermentation. Try to oxygenate if you can. I know that's not always a luxury for a home brewer, but as a home brewer, I used to take 5-gallon buckets or carboys and just shake the heck out of them for at least 2 or 3 minutes to make sure that you're incorporating enough oxygen in your must right after you pitch. And those are the only major concerns that we have. Typically, we'll do our filtrations straight to bright, and we've had a couple of issues. Our first bright tank that we had installed, we found out had some pinholes in it. They didn't pressure test it when they sent it.
Oh dear!
Oh, not good.
So we kept wondering, why did we just lose a whole 20-pound tank of CO2 while we're carbonating? And we realized that after spraying the outside of the glycol jacket of our bright tank, we noticed we had several different pinholes where they ground it a little too close when they welded the glycol jacket to the tank, and we're actually having an active leak from the interior to the exterior glycol system.
Oh.
So that was a major problem that we had to have addressed immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to watch, of course, for things like that. But yeah, pH on your equipment too. High acid environments, you gotta watch some of the tools that you use as well. You don't want your gaskets breaking down too soon. Whether you're using thinner silicone, or whether you switch to Bona or other type of gaskets, try to find ones that are a little more resistant to pH, low pH values. Not that we've run into that so much, but it can happen. I've seen it happen.
So has Vicky.
Breweries down here, right? Yeah, I chalk that up as to a lesson I learned from somebody else's mistake. But largely, that's what we're watching out for, is just making sure that we're creating the best environment for the yeast to do their thing. Careful selection of the fruit is always nice too. It's nice when you can go out and hand pick your fruit. If you're getting it in from a supplier, at least be able to familiarize yourself with the product that you're getting it in. Or if you're just doing it at home, you can go to different. In Florida, we have the luxury of going to U-Pick. You can actually find different U-Pick farms here where you can actually hand pick everything yourself. Or you can buy it just as you would in cases directly from different farmers and different vendors and farmers markets down here. But try to hand pick when you can, so you know the quality of the material that's coming in as well. So those are pretty much the major things that I can think of.
So for someone who's never picked citrus, how do you tell when they're ripe? Is it obvious?
Depends on the citrus. Usually you can tell by the smell. If you take it, you pick it up and you smell it. You're looking for a firmer citrus, and usually you can tell by the smell. The best way to do it is just by taste. If you are getting it at a store, you may have to actually purchase something before you can actually cut it open and taste it. But if you're in a farmer's market situation or on a farm or you pick like that, they're usually more than willing to slice something open for you right then and there, so that you can taste what you're getting with the citrus, taste the juice, taste the product itself, and evaluate, is that something that you really want to work with, or do you want to try something else? So,
do you ever go and get it? I know here you can go and get your apples already. Go get your cider. So they get the apples and you juice them there, and then you take home the juice. Do you ever just go to a local place and have them juice them for you and take home a big old container of juice?
There's not too many places that actually do that, because most of our citrus groves down here are geared towards commercial business. For example, Citra down at the Orange Shop down there. Yes, it's called the Orange Shop. Yeah, exactly. Nice, unique name. But it's basically a Harry and David style U-Pick. So you can either get prepackaged that they've handpicked along the lines of a Harry and David supplier, where they can ship it out to you by small amounts or by the crate, or you can go and handpick there yourself. But typically you don't find a whole lot of local suppliers and local farms that juice on site. Most of them are either selling for the edibles market, where they're producing something that you can, a fruit that you can pick up off the shelf and eat it that way whole, or they're juicing it for the juicing industry, that the Tropicanas and the Florida Natural and all those Sunkist and those particular juice companies. So you don't see a whole lot of that. There's a little of it around, but not a whole lot. But if you did, and if you were able to find something like that, definitely taste it before you actually buy it.
Yeah.
And always ask if